Joining forces means having the same destination. And when we face a challenge, we look it in the eye. When our strengths, talents, and targets are multiplied, we go higher, further, faster. Whether we invent, invest, inspire, educate, or lead, it's about all of us. United across cities, countries, the globe. Together we are stronger than we've ever been. Calling for a more equitable and sustainable world for our own communities and beyond, for future generations.
Welcome to the 2023 Cartier Women's Initiative Awards ceremony. My name is Sandy Toksvig, and it is my pleasure to be your host this evening as we gather together both here in person and online to celebrate a legion of entrepreneurs who have set out to have a positive impact on the world. Now, how do we know that we have found them? Well, Cartier has been a byword for excellence since 1847, and all that determination to provide the best has led to the selection of the Cartier Women's Initiative Fellows, who we will meet tonight. Now, it's hard for me to believe, but it is my third time hosting this wonderful event. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm from Denmark, I'm Danish, but I will be speaking in English here in Paris. So in Danish, I can say god aften og velkommen, jeg er virkelig glad for at være her. In French, yes, so I'm ashamed to say, I don't speak French, but I have learnt the following phrase, so let's hope it goes okay. J'aimerais vous accueillir dans la merveilleuse maison Cartier, mais j'ai traduit cette phrase avec Google. Alors, peut-être que tout ce que je fais est d'accepter d'offrir un verre à tout le monde à la fin. I have no idea what I just said, but I think it'll be expensive. I think you can already tell what a marvelously international event this is going to be. You are in for a treat, partly because I won't speak any more French, and partly because today you are going to hear some of the most empowering stories around. Stories which will speak to women's unique experience, as well as our first two male fellows of this initiative. Now, I know what you are about to hear will encourage everyone, women and men, to want to be our best selves. I have to say I'm not at all surprised that a French company is leading the way with this glorious initiative. The word feminism first appeared in Britain in 1894 when the Daily News introduced the word as something dangerous from France. The public were warned that women would stop shaving their legs, they would start wearing flat shoes, and most horrifying of all, have opinions. I can't vouch for the legs or the shoes tonight, but you will not be short of women speaking their minds, and I guarantee you will be energized by what you hear. You may even be a little overwhelmed, so shall we start with a very high benchmark indeed. Here to kick off the evening is an award-winning human rights lawyer who has spent the past 2 decades defending victims of injustice around the world. She represents clients before international courts with a mission to wage justice through accountability for human rights abuses around the world. She's a special advisor to the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court. If I tell you that she is the co-founder of the Clooney Foundation for Justice, I think that's a clue. Please welcome the fabulous Amal Clooney. Have fun.
Bonsoir à tous et merci beaucoup à Sandy, merci aussi à Cyril et à Cartier de m'avoir invité à participer à ce merveilleux événement ce soir. Good evening everyone, and I'm so happy to be with all of you this evening. I'm happy to be at an event that brings me back to a city that I love and where I get to celebrate one of my favorite things in the world, fabulous women who are changing the world. Throughout, oh, thank you. Throughout my career as a lawyer, I have sought to advance women's rights. And it seems pretty obvious that this is a worthy area of focus. Whether you believe in human rights or just prosperity, it is a good idea to try to unshackle half of the population of the world. The latest data actually shows that women's economic parity would add $12 trillion to the global economy. Yet the percentage of philanthropic grants that go to women's empowerment is in the single digits. And women's rights in places as diverse as Afghanistan and the United States have been in retreat in recent years. My goal is equal justice for all, and my philosophy is that justice must be waged, because justice is not inevitable. It doesn't just happen on its own. We have to fight for it, to gather our forces, to forge allegiances, prepare a strategy, and be determined to do whatever it takes. For me, waging justice means trying to change the system, one case at a time. So I'd like to give you a few examples from my work relating to women's rights. First, there are cases in which I've sought to challenge discriminatory laws and practices through the courts. In Tanzania, we found data showing that approximately 1 in 4 girls is either pregnant or married before she turns 18, and that schools in Tanzania have a policy of expelling these girls, meaning they never get to graduate from high school. So I worked alongside a local women's group to challenge this policy in a case before the African Court of Human Rights. Following this challenge, Tanzania announced a U-turn in its policy, meaning that 1/4 of the population of adolescent girls in the country now has a chance to complete their education. So this is one case that has had an impact on an entire community. Across the border in Malawi, I worked on a case involving some of the poorest and most vulnerable women in the world. I had learnt that women working on certain tea plantations were being routinely sexually abused by their male supervisors, and that the company they were picking tea for was headquartered in the UK. So along with colleagues, I filed a case on behalf of 36 of these women in a London court. We were able to obtain a life-changing settlement that included not only a substantial compensation award and new safety measures for the women who'd been abused, but also forward-looking initiatives like training and employment opportunities that promoted gender equality in the entire community. These cases inspired the Clooney Foundation's Waging Justice for Women program to try to scale this work and change the system. So we're now conducting investigations at tea plantations across Malawi to see where further litigation can help. Later this year, we will open our first Women for Women legal aid clinic in Malawi so that young women lawyers can be funded and trained to provide free legal support to other women and girls in their communities. Across Africa, we plan to challenge more laws that discriminate against women when it comes to marriage, divorce, and property. And I have now joined forces with Michelle Obama and Melinda French Gates on global programs to combat child marriage and increase girls' access to education. Around the world, I've also represented women who've been persecuted for using their voice. In Azerbaijan, my client was a woman named Khadija, one of the top investigative reporters in her country. She uncovered corruption by the president and his family and quickly became a target. First, when authorities released footage from a camera that had been hidden in her bedroom, and later when they imprisoned her on wholly unfounded charges. I led a team of lawyers that took her case to the European Court of Human Rights, and she was set free. I am currently working on a similar case, trying to keep another amazing female journalist out of prison, the Nobel laureate Maria Ressa, this time in the Philippines. Because locking up one journalist means that 100 others will put their pen down, and women are particularly vulnerable to attack. It's cases like this that have inspired the Trial Watch program at the Clooney Foundation, where we monitor criminal trials around the world, provide pro bono legal support to those who are unjustly imprisoned, and advocate to overturn unfair laws. We are now in over 40 countries and growing. Finally, thank you. Finally, there are the cases in which I represent women who are the victims of violence in conflict. And this has actually been a focus of my work since my very first international case, the trial of Slobodan Milosevic, who many of you will know was known as the Butcher of the Balkans. More recently, I've had the honor of representing women in the first trial at the International Criminal Court against a militia leader responsible for crimes against humanity in Darfur, Sudan. Many of the victims I interviewed were women who'd fled the violence and fled across the border to Chad and ended up in a refugee camp where they still live 2 decades later. Their children, they told me, had never seen anything beyond the borders of the camp. Many women told me that until I interviewed them, no one had ever asked them what happened to them. Some told me that they had never told their husbands that they'd been raped, but that they would do so in open court if it helped to bring perpetrators to justice. One woman even started going into labor while I was interviewing her, but said she hadn't wanted to cancel the appointment because justice was her imperative. So many witnesses I spoke to in that case told me about the importance of this long-awaited trial to their community and their belief that justice could help stop the ongoing violence in their country. This trial is still ongoing in The Hague, but I'm now also working with the International Criminal Court prosecutor to bring other perpetrators to justice, including former Sudanese President Omar al-Bashir. As Sudan burns, it could not be more important to move from one case to changing the system. My last example comes from Iraq, where my work on conflict-related violence has focused on women who are the victims of ISIS. ISIS was, of course, the most brutal terror group in the world, and it reserved its most brutal acts for the Yazidis, a small Kurdish-speaking community that ISIS abhorred for being non-Muslim and not having a holy book. Young Yazidi girls were bought and sold at markets and online, sometimes when they were as young as 8, sometimes for as little as $20. And ISIS left a trail of evidence behind it because they thought they would never be held to account. And they were right, until survivors fought back. One of the survivors I represent is a mother whose daughter was killed in front of her while they were both ISIS captives. I cannot say her name for security reasons, but she told me that she was held in Iraq at the house of an ISIS militant named Taha, along with her 5-year-old daughter named Reda. Both mother and daughter were subjected to horrific abuse, and ultimately her daughter Reda died after Taha left her hanging from a window in the scorching Fallujah heat. My client, the mother, said she was haunted by the cries of mama that she heard that day and was determined to do whatever it took to get justice. She was illiterate, she had never left her country, But she traveled to Europe, leaving everything and everyone she knew. She put herself into a witness protection program. I connected her to a small group of prosecutors in Germany who were intent on filing charges for international crimes. And she became the key witness in the case against her abuser. Against the odds, she took on this fight. And last year, over 7 grueling days of testimony spoken through an interpreter, she told a panel of judges in Frankfurt what Taha did. She sat across from him in open court, staring into the eyes of her tormentor. And at the end of the trial, he was convicted of genocide and sentenced to life in prison. I will never forget the moment that verdict was announced. The defendant fainted and paramedics were called in. They had to pause the proceedings, and while he was down on the ground, my client was calm and resilient. It was the greatest possible reversal of power. The slave rendered stronger than her captor through justice. This was the first case anywhere in the world in which an ISIS fighter had been convicted of genocide. I have since then represented a victim in the second such case, and many others now where we've secured convictions for crimes against humanity and war crimes. Cases like these represent a triumph for the whole community, determined to see justice being done. So I am now working with Yazidi survivors to trigger more trials like this, and our foundation's docket program is doing the same for women who are survivors of war crimes from Ukraine to Congo to Venezuela. Ladies and gentlemen, these are some ways in which, as a lawyer, I can advocate for the rights of women. One case at a time, but always to change the system. And in this room tonight, we have some amazing women who are impact entrepreneurs across continents and industries. They are improving food security, refugee integration, female and infant health care. They're providing emergency support to women in danger, creating online laboratories for students and tech platforms for teachers. They are all people changing systems, one project at a time. They are people who are not satisfied with the status quo and who are determined to scale the impact that they've already had. Reading through their profiles, that's the one thing that struck me that they all had in common. Their work has already touched so many, but all they can see is that it's not enough. These women are citizens of the world who will get into the arena and fight for a better future. I see them as engines of change, and I am sure they will use the fellowship and the community that we celebrate tonight as a catalyst. I feel lucky to be in a room with them, and as a mother, I am inspired. I'm definitely going to bring my daughter to rooms like this when she's a little bit older than 5. I have some time. So thank you so much to Cartier for having me here. Congratulations to all of the wonderful fellows who we're honoring tonight. I wish you all a lovely evening. I hope I'll get to meet many of you. Et je vous souhaite à tous une très bonne soirée. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wow, stories that shake you to your core. How lucky we are that there are women like Amal in the world. Right, we've had 2 women. Time for a boy to come on, I think. Not just any boy. One of the nicest men I've ever met. If we are truly to make change in the world, then we all need to be in this together. We salute many amazing women tonight, but we also acknowledge the enormous number of male champions of change who work towards the same goals of a better and more equal society. I know of no greater champion of change than the CEO of Cartier. It's no surprise that he has won awards for his ethical campaigning. He is a courageous and forward-thinking man. He's also kind, and I know from personal experience, excellent company. Please welcome Cyril Vigneron.
Thank you, Sandy, for these very kind words of introduction. Thank you, Amal, for these inspiring, even sometimes terrifying words, and showing how much there is still to do. As Sandy said, I'm a feminist. Not saying feminism as a fight or a trade war where someone has to lose, someone has to win, but something we all have to win, men and women, and all together. It's first, I'm a father of 4, 1 boy, 3 daughters, and I want all of them to have the choice to live the life they want. Being free doesn't mean doing what we want or what we like. When we become a parent, we abandon part of our freedom for a good cause. Being free is to be able to be who we are and to become who we become, and happily. And many are not authorized to have this choice in the world, for example, that Amal could say, because of legal rules or because of social norms or because of family or so forth. And we have to change all that. That's why we need all effort, not only women talking to women about women, but all together, and seeing feminism as humanism and as universalism that we all have to gain at the end. And there is no way we can build a better world if we don't go for women empowerment and with gender equality. It has to come together. And in the world we have been building, because, for about more than 5,000 years, dominantly male have ruled the world of designing it, ruling it, making the laws and so forth. And seeing how bad it's going, it's high time we change, right? Not that not good things have been done, but there's so much more to do, and if we don't change the course of things, it will probably not go very well. So we need all efforts, all brains, all hearts to work together. We can also see in this world that ideologies are kind of disappearing. Religion is also losing power to guide ourselves, meaning we need more to guide ourselves by ourselves. We see politicians losing also credit, but also unions. Basically, all infrastructure institutions are kind of losing traction, meaning we are left ourselves. It doesn't mean we cannot do anything. On the contrary, things are getting more open for civil society to take a voice and to move. And that's where we can do new things, new cooperation, coalition, work, communities, and start from the ground, like all of you who are tonight have started by a problem that you were facing yourself, or your family, your close friend, and didn't find any solution. Say, I will try to fix it. I will do something. And you grew something from a small idea to a business, going through a lot of hardships because it's much more difficult for female entrepreneurs to be credible, to get finance, to get support. There are many, many reasons to discourage you, and you have not been discouraged. On the contrary, being strengthened in your conviction. And that's where organizations like us are very happy, because we are prosperous, because we are visible, that we can put light on you and, of course, support you financially and with education. And this can be a game changer, because when becoming visible in a world where reputation is a currency, then can change your life, but can change also the life of those you support. That's why we are so happy and proud to support this program that for 16 years has just grown bigger and bigger to make a community of sisterhood, but also goodwill of the laureates, the fellows, the jury members, the coaches, and all those who support it to make it bigger and bigger. And that's why I'm really happy, and we'll have very soon the occasion to celebrate and to give the awards to the winners. But all of here are winners, and this fellowship is already a very strong community of forces for good. Forces for good, and also good as a force. And when we join this perception that good can change, that there is a return on kindness, that not only the paranoiacs survive, but there is a way to change things one step at a time, one case at a time, then we can make a little better world. We stand for beauty, but what does it mean to live a beautiful world? It means many, many things, including equality and justice and environment. And so we have to work on that. Something probably we don't know is that what the word Cartier means. It's a family name, but what is it? Many names, like my name, Vigneron, are about profession. Vigneron, when I was young, say, oh, it's so banal. But I found out, no, it makes the one who grow wine. It's very anchored in the land and the soil, and something my French are good at. So I should be proud of it. Cartier were the guys who were drawing cards, trump cards, because before you've done in drawing. And so, if the game is wrong, let's make new cards. That's what we are here for. Let's change the world with one card at a time. I want also to inform, for those who don't know, that we will have the pleasure in 2025 to curate the new Women's Pavilion in Osaka, Universal Exhibition. They were Universal Exhibition, but never Women's Pavilion, because maybe women were not universal enough. The first Universal Declaration of Human Rights didn't include women, no slave. They were not considered to be worthy. And so it was first time in Dubai to have Women's Pavilion, because they are half of the world. And thanks to this pavilion, the Japan government agreed to make another one, and probably there will be one forever. It's an important moment where we hope we can gather all this community of goodwill to be inspired by all these powerful, inspiring women. Another element I want to inform you also, another initiative that came from one of the fellows that were in laureate in 2017, Candice, who said, we must keep track of all this moment. We must have a repository, a place where Agora, we can share views, thoughts, photos, speeches, as we had in Dubai at a wonderful moment, not only for the Women's Initiative community, but also Cartier Philanthropy, and also all those panelists that came to give beautiful speeches. And she said, I will call that Red Box Me. It's a verb. So let's unleash everything inside us that we want to share with others in a free base. So we'll invite all of you, those who want freely, to join that part. And this can be then a new thing of growing good, or saying, Red Box Me. And that's very simple. But actually, waging justice is the same. Doing these things is action. It's not only thoughts. But any action can be fine, as far as we did it with a good heart. So we invite you to do that later. Hope you have an enjoyable evening. I will come back later for a panel, and then to give back the award to what you're all waiting for. But thank you for listening and for being here tonight.
Cyril, champion of change. It was the French feminist and philosopher Simone de Beauvoir who declared to us all, change your life today, don't gamble on the future, act now without delay. And I love the urgency of her words. Each one of us is capable of having a positive impact on society, and I believe today is going to provide a great burst of encouragement to us all. And what a gathering we are. As I said, this is my third time hosting this event. It's the first time in Paris, home of Cartier. Not surprising, we have a lot of distinguished guests in the audience. A very warm welcome to you. I also know that a large number of you are Cartier employees from all over the world, and you should be really proud of what you are part of this evening. In addition, we have global ecosystem enablers, members of both the international and local press, students, opinion leaders, investors, and of course, entrepreneurs, many of whom are already fellows of the Cartier Women's Initiative. Many different backgrounds and a great variety of professions, which is what is needed if we want to do nothing less than change the world. Each one of you is or can be a force for good, especially if we work together. So, in a very modern sort of way, I want you all to shout out about the wonderful things you will learn this evening. Now, I don't want you to actually shout out in the theatre, okay? And if you're online at home, don't do it either, because that's just weird. You can do it via the mobile system. You can do so with the hashtag #ForcesForGood. Right, let's begin on the path of inspiration with some uplifting words from a selection of the fellows joining the programme this year. So in 2023, 32 fellows are being added to a nearly 300 people strong community of impact entrepreneurs spanning 63 countries. Isn't that phenomenal? Let's get some of this year's newcomers to tell us what it is that gets them ticking. Now, I have to tell you, there's quite a lot of them, but it will be lightning talks that I should be introducing. And please know, we are merely scratching the surface of what each one of them brings to the table. Please welcome them to the stage. Welcome. You look fabulous, all of you. Right, first up, we're going to have Dimple Palmer, whose vision is to save millions of lives from cancer through the world's first integrated oncology health tech platform.
I lost my husband Nitesh to cancer when he was 27 years old. Like every other college student, we had our dreams and ambitions before he was diagnosed with cancer. I started taking care of him as a friend, and in the same journey, we fell in love. His cancer progressed to last stage, and this time, doctors told us that he has only 6 months to live. I married him thinking that I could save him. We went through a long treatment process, but unfortunately, we lost him. Something told me that all this had a deeper meaning and a purpose. Even though we had access to the best possible resources in the world, but still we were suffering. What about millions of others who do not have such resources? How can we support them? How can we give them hope? And this is the mission that I took. I always believed that it's not about how many years we live, it's about how well we live in those years and how many people we can support, how many lives we can touch. Hence, I decided to dedicate my life for this cause, to help other cancer patients so that my journey could help others. Cancer requires very personalized care. It cannot be generalized like fever or cold. It needs holistic care with physical, emotional, and spiritual support. It took me 8 months to understand, to learn how to manage Nitesh's cancer, but we might not have that much of time in cancer. And that is why I started ZenOnco.io, that is world's first integrative oncology health tech platform to guide patients end-to-end in their cancer treatment across both medical and complementary treatment. Today, we are a team of doctors available 24/7 to guide cancer patients and their caregivers and be their guiding light when they are going through this journey. My journey didn't stop with Nitesh. It continues with ZenOnco.io, and we aim to serve 1 million lives by 2026. Thank you.
Fantastic. Dimple Palmer. Wonderful, Dimple. Congratulations. Next, Dupe Kila Kafedipe, who created an ethical seafood company and wants no Nigerian to go hungry.
In a world where trips to space are becoming common, global food insecurity is a disgrace. In my country, 25 million Nigerians are at high risk of food insecurity this year. This means 1 in every 8 persons faces hunger, with children suffering the most. The call to act on the problems of food insecurity is urgent, specific, and personal. I decided to answer that call by forming Platinum Fisheries. In our last operating year, we produced over 100 tons of ethically farmed seafood. At the same time, we trained over 100 traditional fishermen to ethically farm fish. And we don't plan on stopping. We will expand our seafood production tenfold annually and continue to train farmers on how to fish ethically and sustainably. We want to show that responsible industrial scaling exists, and it does not have to devastate our planet. Remember I said this was personal? I experienced hunger at a young age, and I saw firsthand its devastating effects on my family and community. The critical developmental years hunger stole from us has not been restored till date. My experience has shown that well-being suffers when assuring our livelihood conflicts with sustainable practices. We should never have to choose. I am privileged to be in the eye of this perfect storm for change. For what can be a bigger calling for me, a woman in a male-dominated field, than to urgently drive change to secure our future? There are sustainable solutions to food insecurity, environmental degradation, and livelihood assurance. With Platinum Fisheries, I stand at the forefront of this solution. Thank you.
amazing. We're only 2 stories in. I mean, it's nowhere to go. Right, now I do know where to go. Liv Anderson, who is building carbon-neutral construction materials. Concrete production currently emits 4 times more carbon than aviation, and she wants to make it more sustainable. Liv.
What do you want to be? They asked me, without ever really caring for my answer. But why ask for ambition if you aren't going to listen to what I have to say? Cute little girl, torn by hesitations, answer the question or follow expectations, or what society expects of you. A girl is bound by limitations, ain't that true? What do you want to be? They asked me. A boy, I suppose. Since being one of those, I get freedom. Freedom to speak my mind, freedom to be ruthless or unkind, without being told I'm bossy, or left out, or left behind. Because there's no success in progress, I guess. So why change a losing concept of a path already defined? What do you want to be? They asked me. A fighter, I say, as I step back in the ring. I'm a boxer, make way, new round, ding, ding, ding. A hook for discrimination, very good swing. A jab for disrespect, that's got a sting. A cross for gender pay gaps, how is that still a thing? Knockout, did I win? It's hard to tell. Because it's still the same fight when the next round begins. Anyways, I'm not sure that a medal is what I'm really fighting for. I don't want to win, I want more. For us, for our children, for generations before. So don't tell me about appropriate vocations, that women won't make great innovations, or aren't suitable to lead corporations, because there are no limitations to women's creations. That's just absurd. So I don't care if all you see is a pretty face when you look at me. You will not control my destiny. And my driving force is my legacy to let women be what they want to be. So let me tell you what I want to be. When I'm finally being heard, I want to be one of the women who helped change the world. Thank you.
Fabulous. Fabulous. Surreal, we have to release a record now. I think this is this new thing to get on with now. Okay, we welcome Shengshuang Xu, who lost his hearing as a child and has since built a platform that has helped more than 1 million hearing-impaired people in China. Shengshuang will be speaking Chinese during his lightning talk, and you're going to be able to follow his talk by watching the subtitles on the side screens. Although he understands written English due to his hearing impairment, he will speak in his native tongue.
上帝对着某人低语，却对着我大吼，这就是为什么我会失聪的原因。这是电影《复制贝多芬》里面的台词，但我第一次看到之后，我就无法忘却。我在11岁的时候，因为生病，导致2边的耳朵都完全失去了听力。贝多芬失聪之后所经历过的那种痛苦、孤独和无助，我全部都经历过。 正是贝多芬榜样的力量激励着我去扼住命运的喉咙。从那时候起，为听障人士谋福祉，促进社会的多元、平等和包容，就成了我毕生的使命。对我们听障人士而言，最大的痛点问题并不是听力障碍本身，而是由于听力障碍导致的沟通障碍。为了解决这个痛点问题， 我在2016年的时候创办了英书科技，致力于通过人工智能技术帮助听障人士更好地与他人沟通交流。截止到目前，我们开发的英书 APP 已经积累了超过100万中国的听障用户，服务了超过100家中国的公共服务机构。未来5到10年，我希望能够带领英书科技成为一家上市公司，并联合其他 服务听障人士的机构， 打造一个全方位的服务听障人士的平台，为全球4.3亿听障人士带去最好的服务。因为我是，所以懂得。我觉得这就是我的使命和价值。我相信，如果上帝没有对着贝多芬大吼，就不会有第9交响曲；没有对着我大吼，就不会有音书。谢谢。
Fantastic. Thank you. Right, giving the next lightning talk, Pulami Chowdhury, who is making gene editing safer, more efficient and reliable.
Success is not just measured by how far you've climbed up the corporate ladder or how big a company you've built. It's truly measured by how many challenges you've been able to solve. My goal is to solve for life-threatening diseases like cancer, neurodegeneration, congenital diseases, but most importantly, provide access to these therapies irrespective of social economic backgrounds, as at least 400 million people worldwide are actually impacted by such diseases. Now that's a daunting challenge. Like you all, I have had my own share of challenges. In 2011, I chose a topic which was an uncharted topic for my PhD. But the tougher challenge really arose when my funding stopped midway. My whole world had fallen apart. I was in a foreign country, alone, with big dreams, but no money. My values restricted me from taking help or seeking financial help from my parents. However, I decided to persevere. I had to make an impact. This determination of mine, coupled with my ability to stay calm in crisis, my confidence, and my integral values, impressed my supervisor, and he convinced the entire university to support me. This experience changed my life, and it is what made me create my company Helix. It made me realize that challenges are not worrisome hurdles. It is really like a game of chess where the right strategy with the most optimal strategy along with it really leads to victory. We women here, we have immense inner strength and patience. We also have this dragonfly eye perception, which inherently makes us great problem solvers. Just reflect, we do that in our regular lives. So why and how does self-doubt hinder us from making monumental, world-changing choices? My message tonight is to believe in yourself. Stay true to your values. Trust your gut. Give your 100%, and then there is nothing called failing. It's all learning, as Nelson Mandela beautifully says. With this attitude, what's impossible today will become inevitable tomorrow. Thank you.
Pulami, thank you so much. I want everything you just said on a T-shirt. I want the whole thing. Time to welcome Nathalie Lasselin, who is helping children learn foreign languages from other children in a simple and fun way.
Before my 40th birthday, I had what I thought was a full life. I'd been living in Japan for 5 years, working in top management positions in luxury brands. I was passionate about growth mindset. And then, 1 month after my 40th birthday, boom. A fall, brain trauma, 8 months to recover. Peace and quiet there, peace and quiet here. Inner peace in my emotions, inner peace in my body. All my dreams from childhood came back to me. An inner decision was made. I would contribute to peace for children. Second life, second chance. I became kind of unstoppable, and this is why I'm here today, to contribute, to join forces for good with you, if you allow me to invite you along on our journey. In the diversity of people beats the heart of humanity, said Hassan Al-Wazan, Léon l'Africain. And that's why I created Kokoro, a teaching platform that connects children from all over the world through weekly videos. The teachers? Who other than children themselves? Because by sharing knowledge and experiences, children can learn from one another and access quality education, regardless of their background or location. This is about breaking down barriers, about fostering empathy and understanding. I'm here today because there is an emergency for the children of the world. Quality and equitable education will create tolerance. Communicating to each other from heart to heart will change the world. So now just imagine this new world with an entire generation of children, educated for peace, aware of their unique potential, able to share it with humanity and our planet. So let's do it. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie. Our penultimate speaker, Farah Imara, who's leveraging data and technology to build sustainable agricultural systems in the MENA region.
When I started my entrepreneurship journey to tackle the high food loss rates in Egypt, I knew that it would be a challenging road. But what surprised me was that the biggest challenge was not just being an entrepreneur, but being a female entrepreneur. During the early days of FreshSource, one of our first hires was this well-educated accountant. And despite me being the CEO, he refused to communicate directly with me if my brother, who's also my co-founder, was in the room. I wrote off this behavior, thinking maybe it's because of how our culture portrays gender roles. But then, as I was raising investments from Western VCs, they suggested I put my brother Omar as the CEO so that he can raise the funds and then turn the company back. This was a turning point for me in how I understood these behaviors. It made me realize that these attitudes are reflections of that individual, their own insecurities, their own life journey, and the lack of presence of strong female figures in their lives. I decided then and there that I would not let any of these things get to me. I'd let go of that employee, targeted VCs that actually see the value in supporting women, and together with my co-founder and the support of my husband, scaled FreshSource to over 11 cities with nearly 100 employees. What started off as a mission to create Egypt's first digital agriculture marketplace turned into so much more. I realized that by sharing my experiences, I can provide a glimmer of hope to any girl that has been told that she can't do something. I am proof that even if you are a girl, you can succeed and flourish in a male-dominated industry. We all have the ability to drive change through our communities and empower each other to reach our full potential. Thank you.
I think that guy in your company, I think the mistake he made was forgetting you were the boss and could fire him. I think that's a wonderful story. I love that. Finally, in this section, Wendy Owens, a nature lover on a mission to preserve our planet by creating carbon-negative, plant-based raw materials. Wendy.
Remember when you were little and you were missing your 2 front teeth? It was around that age that I had to make a profound choice. I stood in front of my 2 siblings, who I love most in the world, being encouraged by our father to bully them, to belittle them, to hurt them. I had a choice. Do as he encouraged and cause them harm, or not? With tears in my eyes and a tender heart, I said no. I said no with the righteous ferocity of a child. I chose kindness. I chose kindness despite knowing this would be taken for weakness. I learned that day that kindness is not weakness, but an invaluable inner strength. I realize today that that choice of kindness over a legacy of cruelty and mistreatment saved me. It is this choice that has brought me before you here today. I chose to start a company that puts kindness above all else. A company that seeks to overcome a legacy and abuse humans have heaped upon our earth. A company that leaves trees standing, leaves food for food and not fuel, and leaves fossil fuels in the ground. It is time for kindness. To the birds in the sky, animals in the ocean, to all living things on the ground, and even the creepy crawly things underneath it. Because the world can be a harsh place, no matter what age you are. But an act of kindness begets an act of kindness. And although it's not always easy, or to our social or economic advantage, any person can choose to be kind. So, I stand here today, looking out on the audience, where one of the people I love most in the world sits. And I ask you, with the ferocity of a mother, maybe some tears in my eyes, but still with a tender heart, for you to join me in choosing kindness, because it is kindness that will save us all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Our fellows, first lightning selection. Thank you very much, everyone. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Fabulous. So see you later. Madame Lever, see you later. Wow, if that ain't inspiring. The Cartier Women's Initiative has really grown in scope and size over the last 15 years. It is, honestly, it's a slightly mind-boggling global program covering 63 countries, supporting hundreds of entrepreneurs who are running businesses affecting tens of thousands of people. And someone at Cartier has to run all this. Fortunately, and not surprisingly, we have just the person. With a distinguished career in the capital markets for 15 years, she also co-authored Impact with Wings, Stories to Inspire and Mobilize Women Angel Investors and Entrepreneurs. She is the redoubtable Winji Sampaio.
Entrepreneurship can do so much for all of us, and it's on so many fronts. It is time we call on it and leverage this important force for good. Take education. In Egypt, Raja's Praxilab has created virtual science labs that have benefited more than 1 million students across 140 countries. Or climate. Lily from Australia has helped save 8 million kilos of carbon emission, equivalent to 130,000 trees, via her app, One Small Step. These are just some very remarkable impact that our fellow in our program have been creating as business leaders, as role models, and as change makers. Their contribution to our world is so precious, and yet, over and over again, they are facing barriers due to their gender. So, what can we do in return to enable their work further? 2 years ago, we had the chance to invite Jacqueline Novogratz, a passionate advocate for entrepreneurship for economic development. She shared with us one of her most treasured leadership practice. If you want to serve, you must start by listening and not assuming. We've been practicing this at the heart of the Cartier Women Initiative. The Cartier Women Initiative is an impact entrepreneurship program that aims to drive change by empowering women impact entrepreneurs. Our main actions are across 4 folds. Our awards that provides a grant and recognition to the impact entrepreneurs' work. Our fellowship that provides them with a skill set and knowledge to support them in their entrepreneurship journey. Our community that creates a space for them to connect their hearts and their minds across entrepreneurs and also with their supporters. And last but not least, via our thought leadership, we're able to drive greater dialogue and insight to this important cause. And in this journey of doing so, we have had the privilege of connecting so many communities of supporters from around the world, rather they be community of press, community of investors, ecosystem enablers, academics. Many of you are here with us today, and on behalf of all the entrepreneurs in our program, we thank you for your support. At the heart of the Cartier Women Initiative is the importance of diversity and the important need for equity and inclusion. While the overall initiative has been focused on gender, we also want to take action towards other dimensions beyond gender. And so for this edition, we have piloted the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion program, specifically supporting impact entrepreneurs who are leveraging business to tackle diversity, equity, inclusion challenge. And this category is open to all. Our first 2 male fellows created the businesses that are creating greater inclusions for the Black community via fashion, and also for those who are hard of hearing communities. Every year, we have the chance to hear from thousands of entrepreneurs via our call for application, via our community and ecosystem events. And while each year, we're only able to select 3 entrepreneurs for each of our 11 program categories, we want to take a moment to acknowledge this remarkable work of all the entrepreneurs. We see you, and we want to thank you for the change that you're trying to make for all of us. All around the world, women are starting businesses, and yet many of these businesses unfortunately still remain small. Not because they lack potential, but because they lack the financial and social capital that needs to realize that potential. In the case of impact entrepreneurship, this potential is what the world needs: social and environmental change. As Cyril shared with us, we had a wonderful community reunion in Dubai. It was a very special moment for our community, and it led us to realize that the future of the initiative will really focus on the need for capital and the need for community. And so, in 2022, in collaboration with Beneficial Return, we launched the Cartier Women Initiative Loan Fund. And this fund enabled loans to fellows of the Cartier Women Initiative program. Furthermore, we have stepped up our community engagement effort, hosting close to 40 digital and in-person events in different parts of the world, connecting our community. And via these networking and connection sessions, our community members were able to help each other 153 times. Coming back to Jacqueline's leadership practice, listening is the first step to serving better. And so for us, what else might entrepreneurs need from us? We took this occasion to ask them.
If we want to reach good health and well-being for all,
to achieve equality in education,
if we are to achieve a sustainable production chain,
to teach people the importance of actually drinking clean water,
we need every one of us to be owners of this change.
We need to make real changes to our lifestyles.
Prioritize products that are good for you and the planet.
It's as simple as don't litter, do recycle, and don't buy plastic bottles.
I'm calling upon you to contribute in your own way, do the research, and purchase and support those around us.
We need governments to be more open to startups.
We will need non-profit organizations and health institutions to empower the families with the support they need.
There needs to be more public and private sector collaborations at a wider scale.
We need more accountability between all stakeholders.
NGOs, governments, and the private sector need to work together.
Trust. I want people to trust me, to trust my commitment and capabilities to offer immigrants across the globe a new way to access financial services.
Gender equality can be achieved only if society as a whole sees every woman as a change maker.
Gender is a big part,
But we need to talk about diversity in all its forms.
No matter what socio-economic background they're from or special learning needs they have.
To actualize change, creating a more equitable future for ourselves, our communities, and future generations to come.
It's a mindset shift.
This is the right time to act.
Fantastic. The brilliant Wenji Sampaio, the driving force behind all of this. Just to be clear with you, you have not seen all 32 of our wonderful 2023 fellows. What we saw in the lightning talks, that's just a sneak peek. But everybody who has travelled here will be part of the awards reveal later this evening. One of the things I've learnt from working in this great initiative is there's a lot to do, so everybody's always in a hurry, and that means they don't always have time to tell me what they want to say in a full sentence. I don't know what that is. So there's a lot of letters, or what we call acronyms, used instead. So GDP is Gross Domestic Product, SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, my favourite tech acronym, PICNIC, picnic, problem in chair, not in computer, which I appreciate. Let's turn to SDGs. It's a wonderful list of sustainable goals for humanity as a whole. But how do we make sure that everybody is engaged with them? Well, one of the ways is through art. And with that in mind, we turn now to a fascinating discussion about the role of artists in igniting social and environmental change. And joining us for the discussion, we have director, actor and activist Nadine Lebaki and Cyril Vignon, who I think you've already gathered is the CEO of Cartier. Please welcome them both to the stage. Well, I'm sure I don't need to, but let me tell you a little bit about Nadine's work, if I may. Her boundary-pushing films have ignited, I can only describe it as tangible change on the ground. The film Capernaum, it sent shockwaves through the Cannes Film Festival. It's the powerful view on refugees told through the eyes of a 12-year-old. You won the jury prize, you were nominated for the BAFTAs, the Golden Globes, the French Césars, an Academy Award for Best Foreign Film. I mean, it's pretty impressive. So, if I may, Cyril, I'm going to start with Nadine. And I'm curious to know, what was the drive for you? Maybe something in your childhood? Was there something that you saw that you thought, actually, I want to do that, the impact that that has had on me, I want to do that kind of thing?
When it comes to my childhood, I grew up in a war-torn country, and so I didn't really have a normal childhood. I was, as all the children of my age at that time, I was confronted with the idea of death all the time, the idea of losing people I love, the idea of not being able to really play, go out, be as a normal child. So I think that, first of all, movie making and watching films became a sort of a highlight for me, sort of the highlight of my day. I used to wait for the power, because we used to live without electricity most of the time.
Just tell everybody where it was. Where were you?
Sorry,
yes.
Lebanon.
In Lebanon, yes. Yeah.
In Lebanon. So so it was like the moment we had electricity was the highlight, and I knew I was going to be able to watch a film. So films allowed me to really escape my own reality and sort of the frustrations that and the indignation that I used to feel as a child towards what was happening around me. So I guess I decided very early that this is what I want to do in life. I want to tell stories that allow me to escape my own reality and dream through these stories that I was going to tell. And later on in life, as I started doing films, and I studied filmmaking and all of that. And then when I started making films, I slowly understood. It was not from the beginning, but I slowly understood the power of those images and those stories that I was telling. And
is there a film from that time? I love this image of you as a child with the electricity coming on. Is there a film from that time that particularly resonates with you, do you think?
Grease.
Grease! I love that. Oh.
Yes, it was, the dancing and the colors and believing and actually seeing that there is a different reality. Mm. There is a different reality, and it allowed me to really understand what was happening in the world outside. We were unfortunately confined behind sandbags most of the time. So it was a very, very small, confined environment, and films really allowed me to really escape and understand the world in a way.
I think sometimes when we talk about social injustice, we're told statistics and we're told quite dry things. It seems to me that one of the things that film can do, maybe it taps into the inner child, I don't know, is that it gives us a personal understanding of what's happening.
Absolutely. What I also understood is that a film actually humanizes a problem. So instead of hearing about certain things or certain events or certain problems in statistics and numbers, you actually put a face on the problem. You see it through somebody else's struggle. So it taps into your emotions as a human being, and this allows you to, in a way, or ignites a sort of will to act or will to change, because it's tapping on your emotions. And I think this has been the power of art throughout history. How many films or songs or music or pieces of art have really ignited a sort of a change in society or a change in perspective. So I try as much as I can to live up to this responsibility.
And do you feel it as a responsibility? Is it something that does it weigh on you?
It is a responsibility because, unfortunately, in the world we live in, most of the time, those negative feelings that we feel, like anger and frustration, and this anger towards the injustice that we are seeing, the inequality that we are seeing. Obviously, the world is not that great right now. So, what I try to do is actually turn this anger into the fuel to do something positive, and not just let this anger and frustration blind me. I try to do something about it and maybe live up to or align myself with my mission in life, with what I'm supposed to do, or why am I here? What is really my mission? So I try as much as I can to live up to that and see what I can do from my place in the world, and who I am and what I know. And what I know now is to make films, and my tool is really this sort of magnifying glass, which is cinema and film, to shed the light on certain problems, ignite debate, talk about them, and then try as much as I can from my place, even if it's not going to change the world, but truly believe in my power as a human being into changing something at least, or changing someone's perspective or someone's feelings towards what I'm trying to say. And what I love about art is that it's also a collective experience, especially cinema. You know, when you're watching a film, you are in this collective experience, in this dark room, all together, watching this screen and watching what's happening on the screen, and you really feel the other person's vibe. You really feel that collective experience, and I think we should be more and more aware of that power that cinema and films and images have on us as human beings.
I know you appreciate this, Cyrilla. We've spoken about this, you and I, together. There really is something about art humanizing issues, isn't there, and inspiring change. Is that something that Cartier is supporting? And presumably it is, yeah.
Yes, some part are coming because we drive them, and some also because artists raise some issues. 15 years ago there was movies about blood diamond, and this led to the Kimberley process in the chain of custody that had been implemented afterwards. And as Nadine said, when an artist takes a topic and tries to make it personal, then it can touch many people, whether it's films or photographers or writers or combined also collective. So the Fondation Cartier pour l'Art Contemporain has been a staging artist, either individual or collective, but also artists and scientists together for what they were standing for. There is one fantastic bioacoustician, it's Bernie Krause, and he has been following and listening to the biodiversity for 30 years, just recording. He wanted to understand how do different species connect with each other. And then he made an installation with United Visual Artists, something looking like this, where it looks like a score, and you come and you're in the dark room and you listen to it. And then you see like all the birds and all the animals at a specific time that are connecting to each other. He found that they all use a different frequency. But in 30 years, he also realized that 50,000 species he had recorded had disappeared.
Wow.
But this looked like numbers. But when you come to just that simple room and you listen to that just in the dark, there's something very soothing and something very touching that say no one else will be able to listen to that because it doesn't exist anymore. The other exhibition, which was Trees, Nous les Arbres, it was a collective of artists, scientists, biologists, and made together an element about what it means to be us as human inside biodiversity. It made people realize that a biosphere is a kind of system where we are coming from. We tend to think, we human, that we own the planet, but we are just a byproduct of trees. Trees were on the planet 350 million years before us, and they created the oxygen that we breathe. So we breathe in what they breathe out, and vice versa. Meaning, if there is no trees, there is no us. We don't necessarily realize that, but that's just a fact of reality. And this exhibition, which was shown in Paris and in Shanghai, has thousands of visitors who realized that and got bonded to it. So the role of art and science is to find ways that touch us, because we are inundated by information, by statistics, and by fake news also. And sometimes we just don't know.
And what you were saying about sounds that disappear, and I think one of the things I'm struck with about your work is that you give voice to the voiceless. And that seems to me one of the most wonderful things that a film can do. In your film, you had he was a refugee boy who was the star of the film.
Yes, it was about a stateless boy. I wanted to talk about those invisible societies and invisible communities, especially children that are living outside of the systems, because most of the time they don't have any papers, they haven't been registered, and so they sort of become completely invisible from the system, even invisible when, we cross paths with them. Most of them are working children, most of them we see them selling flowers, so I wanted to really understand the behind the scenes. Where does this child that I barely see, I barely notice, that I sometimes completely ignore, where does he go after, he turns the corner and he disappears behind the building? Where does he go? Who is he? Who are his parents? How does he see the world? How does he see the injustice that he is facing? How does it feel for him to be completely invisible? Because this is unfortunately what we do most of the time, is just turn the other way and act as if they are not there.
But it's so much more powerful than telling me how many refugees there are or the numbers. Sometimes you can't take it in, can you? You get a kind of number blindness.
So I decided that I was going to understand more, because it was I don't think it was right for me to just fantasize the story and just imagine what goes on. I just wanted to understand, and this is what I did. I did a lot of research, and I went to spend a lot of time in those communities and spending time with children. And then I decided that I was going to work with a child that is coming from this sort of experience. I felt also the need to just tell that story from somebody who has lived it. I didn't have the right to just ask an actor to act what was happening, to act this suffering or what those children are going through. So I decided that I was going to try as much as I can to collaborate with those children, with these communities, with the parents, the families, and the whole community to be able to become together this voice and use my tool or my film as a platform for them to express what they were feeling and to really tell that story from their point of view. So it was based on a script that was very solid, that was with dialogues and everything. But then, you keep rewriting the film, and I think I rewrote this film with them while I was shooting, and really being inspired and also absorbing what they were going through and trying to translate it in a way that felt real and especially honest. So it was very important for me to convey in a way that honesty and to convey that reality without without making it too fictional.
Yes.
So it was
sort of docurealism.
So it was a very thin line actually between documentary and fiction, and that's why I worked with Zayn that you saw.
Well, it's no wonder
a great child.
It was so fated at Cannes. I could just sit and chat to you both all evening, but we have a million more people to meet. Cyril and Nadine, thank you so very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I did promise I wouldn't try any more French, but there is a French quote that I really love. I'm going to really try not to destroy this. Okay. Se réunir est un début. Rester ensemble est un progrès. Travail ensemble est la réussite. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is progress. Working together is success. This next segment is all about joining forces. Fellows, tell us about when they reached out to a supporter, platform, or even a competitor to solve one of their challenges. We shall have a few more of our lightning talks as we zip around the world. Please welcome the fellows to the stage. Fantastic. Right, first up, we are going to welcome Emily Yule, based in Brazil, who is transforming the feminine care industry.
As the first menstrual underwear brand in Latin America, our proposal to the market seemed like a no-brainer. I mean, who wouldn't want a pair of menstrual underwear that kills bacteria and odors, can be used over 100 times, replaces thousands of disposable menstrual products, and saves the consumer, saves you, 78% of personal expenses? In December of our first year, I received a LinkedIn message that would change the trajectory of our business forever. Dear Emily, I visited your panties store and I would like to meet for coffee. From the Global Director of Feminine Care at Johnson & Johnson, what some would consider to be our biggest competitor. There was just one tiny problem. Everything that we stood for was against their disposable pads and tampon business. Duda, my co-founder, and I started to brainstorm the possibilities. A player of this size could destroy our business or could accelerate exponentially our reach and impact. Although our business models were conflicting, our objectives were aligned. 16 months later, led by a group of all women at Johnson & Johnson, we designed and launched the most affordable and first clinically approved menstrual underwear in the world. I'm eternally grateful that we had this strategic shift towards collaboration so early in our entrepreneurial journeys. Collaboration is the future. It's a mindset, a culture. Whether partnering with other brands or hosting focus groups of unmet needs with our community, co-creation continues to be the key driver of our disruptive innovation, expansion speed, and scalable impact. If I can leave you with anything tonight, it's the idea that sometimes our competitors can actually be our best partners to grow and even transform an entire market for good. Thank you.
Yay, Emily. Fabulous. Well done. And we welcome now from Senegal, Sini Samba, who is changing the lives of Senegalese babies.
I grew up in Senegal with the luck to live in a house and eat 3 times a day. But that wasn't the case for everyone. When I look around me, I remember seeing children living on the street and struggling to find food. My grandma used to tell me, Sini, we all have the power to change things. So once a week, we used to cook for these children together. That experience is why I founded Le Lionceau, to create tasty and nutritious baby food made with local ingredients. The first person I hired in my company was a young lady named Mami. She comes from a little village in Senegal, and her job was to make sure our workstation were clean. A couple years later, she became our production manager and now leads a team of 15 people. One day, when we were looking to increase our production capacity, she told me I had an idea. We went together to her native village, where she introduced me to this woman group who knew how to process our local crops with great expertise. I knew then and there that we had a winning partnership. We would bring the innovation in the recipes. They would bring the traditional processing method passed down from generation to generation. With this woman, despite our different stories and background, we knew that by joining our forces, we are more powerful to strengthen our value chain, reduce farm losses, create jobs, empowering women, and give to babies the full chance to reach their full potential. Today, more than ever, we cannot solve the challenges of our time unless we solve them together. Just like I joined hands with my grandma, Mommy, and this woman group to prevent any child from experiencing hunger, you too have the power to change things and create a positive change on a larger scale. Thank you.
Sini Samba. Let's head to Australia. Lena Shu, who is enabling access to quality virtual healthcare to underserved patients.
A mission that has a real social impact is like a northern star. At first, you might be traveling alone, but along the way, you'll find others whose mission align with yours. This is how I found my tribe through telecare. Back in July 2019, I was recovering from postnatal depression from giving birth to my second child in Australia. I'm trying to find my feet as a new immigrant amid a long career break. The inner urge to break through and restore my confidence in this new society pushed me to start telecare. People thought I was crazy, new in a new country, having 2 young children, and running a startup in the healthcare industry I had little experience in. Little did I know that this would be the mission that united a tribe of amazing individuals around delivering healthcare to the underserved across the country. I would never envisioned the company I built would be capable of delivering more than 50,000 consultations and now partnering with 15 public hospitals in just 3 years. The progress we have made in such a short time is a huge source of pride. I'm proud of myself that I was able to walk my own path, but I'm prouder for those who were brave enough in joining me, those who were just as committed as me, putting their heart and soul into the mission of serving the underserved. Before I found my tribe, completing this mission seemed impossible. In many other ways, I was lost. Now, with the right people beside me, I'm inspired, I'm empowered, and I thrive. The mission that I set out to achieve has not only helped countless Australians, it has also helped me find my new home. Thank you.
Lena, thank you. We continue our whirlwind tour around the world. Latin America is next. Lydia Diaz, who is giving Latin American cuisine lovers a sustainable, tasty, plant-based alternative.
Today I'd like to share with you how a simple conversation with a supplier transformed my company. It was summer in the Dominican Republic. I had recently started Plant Powered, my company for sustainable plant-based Latin foods, and we were looking for our office. We managed to find an office space next to a factory that receives all the fruits and vegetables that come from the countryside to the city. Much as it was destined to the countries abroad, I started talking to the farmers, and one of them told me that much of their products ends up in the trash because it didn't meet the aesthetic standards of the destination country. A light bulb went off in my head. When I created my company, I wanted to create a 360 sustainable business model. Everything has an end that's not a garbage can. And as painful as it was, to find out about the amount of food that went to waste, I saw a light sent from heaven with this opportunity. We could purchase and process these rejects from local farmers and create a win-win situation. The result? We reduced our input costs up to 90% and eliminated almost 100% of our suppliers' losses. My invitation to all of you tonight is to take the time to talk and to get to know everyone in your value chain. We focused on the weakest link, and we were able to generate the most critical collaboration that decreased our costs significantly. When we know their strengths, their struggles, their history, their pain points, their processes, the positive and negative experiences, we are not only in strengthening relationships crucial to our operation, but we're also opening a window to identify win-win opportunities that may even revolutionize the industry to which we bring value. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lydia. Next up, Indonesia, Danica Riyadini Flesh, who is elevating women out of poverty by designing garments using traditional Indonesian craftsmanship.
I'd like you to meet Ibu Kasmini, one of Indonesia's last cotton farmers. Like many women in her village, she didn't go to school. She never heard of concepts like sustainability. Yet, she taught me more about it than any textbook ever could. You see, there's an untold story behind the things we use every day. For your clothes, that story starts at a farm. Now the problem is that the way it's currently grown is hurting our soil. Forests are being cut down for massive monocultures. Using so much chemicals, cotton is named the dirtiest crop in the world. And it wasn't always like this. Together with Ibu Kasmini, we went on a journey of remembering of how her grandmother used to grow cotton, using salt and cloves to keep bugs away, turning waste into compost that nourish our soil without any chemicals. And most importantly, to never grow cotton alone, but together like a healthy forest. Our ancestors called this tumpang sari, or regenerative farming. Today, this has been found as one of the best nature-based climate solutions. And the dress I'm wearing tonight came from this forest. By changing how it's grown, we created clothes that heal our planet. My business, Sukacita, is the bridge that connects you with the full story of how and why something was made. The truth is, our current way of life relies on the extraction of nature. But working with women like Ibu Kasmini taught me that there is a different way, that more is not always better, and to find ways to give more than we take. It is this proven wisdom and knowledge that has allowed indigenous communities to live in harmony with nature over generations. I believe it is time we listen to them. Together, working for a world where our choices no longer come at the cost of our future. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I love the dress. It's very, very good. South Korea is next. Woori Moon, who is breaking social taboos about mental health.
Tonight, I'd like to share how we could make a bigger impact through collaboration across the different business area. After we launched our personalized mental care service called Mindly, we struggled to find ways to promote our app. Because the digital mental care through software without therapists was quite revolutionary to the market, so people were not familiar with this concept. So we had to find a way increasing the awareness of our service very efficiently with a limited budget. So I thought, if it is difficult for us to find the users directly, what if we collaborate with the partners who already have a large customer base? And we discovered two opportunities. First, I found that Google started a program for startups with a promising app service. So I applied for the opportunity, and a few months later, our app was featured at the top of the Google Play Store. Second collaboration was with one of the largest phone carriers in Korea, which has more than 10 million subscribers. As the competition between the telcos is fierce, the company wanted to differentiate themselves by delivering an innovative user experience. And we wanted to spread out our service to help more people. So we came up with a co-promotion campaign providing the free trial of our mental health service to the subscribers. Through these collaborations, it really cost nothing to us, but we could recruit thousands of users. After these experiences, I realized that if we keep an open mind, we can create exciting synergies with the partners in entirely different business area. So let's be open and be innovative to make bigger impact together in the world. Thank you.
Woori, thank you so much. And finally, from Bulgaria, Eva Gumnishka, who is replacing humanitarian aid with meaningful work for conflict-affected communities.
In 2017, in the middle of the Syrian refugee crisis, I was volunteering in a refugee camp in my home country, Bulgaria, and I witnessed how difficult it was for people to find employment because of the constant discrimination they were facing. So I set out to create a new type of company, one which would exclusively hire refugees and connect them to digital work. Soon enough, we hired our first employees, but they started asking, could I send some of this work to my family members back in Aleppo? Or if I go back to Afghanistan, can I continue working from there? And this is what got me thinking. Refugees, despite all of the challenges they are facing in host countries, still have many opportunities available to them. But what about the people who remain behind? I had absolutely no idea how we could possibly open offices in Syria or Afghanistan and offer employment there. But one day, I got an email from an Iraqi NGO asking if they could become our partner and offer our digital jobs to their trainees. So I said, great, that's how we're going to do it. So fast forward to 2023, we're now working with 8 partners in countries that are facing armed conflict, hyperinflation, and international sanctions, such as Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Lebanon, Yemen, Ukraine, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. In order to give people the choice not to flee their home countries, by working online and joining the global digital economy. We joined forces with amazing local NGOs and grassroots leaders like Khalid from Syria or Matiullah from Afghanistan in order to support their communities. And it worked. Together, through these partnerships, we have distributed more than 1 million euros in earnings to the workforce of the future in conflict-affected areas. Thank you.
Fantastic. Our 2023 fellows. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you very much indeed. Well done, everybody. Very good. Thank you very much indeed. I wouldn't underestimate how hard it is to make a public speech in front of this many people. I'm hoping to get the hang of it myself one day. I've always thought that to succeed in life, you need two things. You need ignorance and confidence. And sometimes it's best not to know how much you don't know as you move forward. And I think it's often the unexpected or unconventional partnerships which can really make a difference. So let's move on to a different type of unconventional partnership between artists and their communities. We talked about how art can influence how we feel, but artists who achieve public recognition also often have considerable influence among their communities. It's influence which, when used responsibly, can amplify a global movement and inspire everyone to become an agent of change. To discuss this, please welcome Melanie Laurent and Yara Shahidi. I just realized I didn't hug Nadine. I'm really sorry. I'll do it later. But I feel bad now. Okay, let me just tell you very quickly, as if I needed to. Melanie Laurent is a French actor, director, and environmental activist. As the recipient of not one but two César Awards, she is a key figure in the French film industry. She's acted in over 40 films, and her 2015 environment-focused documentary Demain, which even I know means tomorrow, became the biggest French documentary release of the year. Alongside her, we have the award-winning American actor, producer, and activist Yara Shahidi. You may know her as the star of the Emmy and Golden Globe-nominated series Blackish and its spin-off Grownish, and she has received numerous accolades for her work outside of entertainment. She founded We Vote Next to shine a light on Gen Z and BIPOC inclusion in the political process. And she recently graduated from Harvard University with a BA in Social Studies and African American Studies. So belated congratulations to you. Now, one of the things that you both have in common, apart from being activists, you both started in the business very young. Yara, you were 6. Melanie, I don't know what you were doing because you hung around till you were 16. I don't know what you were waiting for.
I was lazy.
Oh, yeah, just so lazy. You're both very successful. Can you not just enjoy the success? Why do you want to become an agent of change? What drives you both?
Well, I have to really turn to my family and the precedent they set. I come from a family of people that are so socially engaged, and regardless of their position in the world, as educators, as employers, as family members, have always tried to figure out how to give back to their communities. And so I think I kind of tripped into acting. But the one thing I didn't trip into was this feeling of indebted gratitude, of knowing that the world that we have today is the result of so many people, millions of people's work, and the space that I get to appreciate today is the result of that work. And so, coming into this space with a sense of indebtedness, the question always is, how do we give this work meaning? It's beautiful to be able to share so many experiences as an actor and the doors that it opens, but it can feel quite trivial. It can feel quite silly when you're sitting there and the world is burning and you're posing for pictures. And so you kind of have to have something that grounds what you do. And I think finding the purpose in my work is what's made it so exciting.
So good on you with your family, basically. Melanie, what about yourself? Do you come from a family of activists?
No, but I think it's a miracle that we start that young to work in that business and still being there in the spotlight after all those years. And there is so many women and so many people who cannot talk at all, ever. So it's a miracle to be still successful, and it would be a shame to not using any of the spotlight to just give voice to all those people who cannot talk and cannot be heard. And it's so funny because I'm 40 and I did so many interviews in my life, and I'm so terrified tonight.
Oh, why?
It's like my first talk, because I just saw all those beautiful women being so brave and so beautiful.
I'm going to come sit next to you. You'll feel way better. Okay, let's come. Let's
Take
all
my
sit together.
hand.
Let's sit together. Here we go.
You wanna take my
We got this. We got this. There you go.
No,
There
but
you
I
go.
was just
We're fine.
I think I was nervous for them, and I just wanted tell you all that it's so brave to talk about personal things, being here in the spotlight and creating emotion. And I think artists, the only job we have to do is creating emotion, inspiring people. And then when we can say something, it's just the minimum that we can do to just use light to just inspire even more people.
It is remarkable to be in the room with all these stories, isn't it?
The fact you're here.
Is it okay? Okay. It's been, I can't tell you, it's a love fest backstage. Everybody's just hugging each other all the time, and it's so wonderful. Now, I want to talk about your climate documentary, Amal, because the thing, it seemed to me about it, that you didn't want to give in to catastrophism. Is that fair, that you wanted to find initiatives that maybe, because we hear a lot of terrible things, and of course, you know, I have grandchildren, and I want there to be some positives, and do you still feel like that? It's 10 years ago.
I mean, I lost a little bit of hope, to be honest. Yes. But 10 years ago, I was pregnant with my first child, and I wanted to find solutions for him, obviously, first. And I had that energy of, like, finding solutions everywhere, and in agriculture, economy, education, of course. And we traveled the world, and we saw so many things and so many amazing solutions. And the documentary was starting with two scientists who was literally saying, like, if we don't do anything right now, we're gonna have, like, huge climate change impact soon, and we need to change now. And big corporations should change now, and entrepreneurs should change now, because otherwise, in 10 years, it's going to be a disaster. And 10 years later, it's a disaster. So, I mean, I know there is many solutions. I'm just waiting for the world to be maybe leads by women only.
I mean, it's a plan.
Can we do that? That's my plan.
It's a plan. I like this plan. Well, I mean, the initiatives that we've been hearing are just extraordinary and amazing. What for you, darling? You talked about one of the things you've talked about is abundance must flow. There's such a wonderful phrase, isn't it? Yeah. How does that manifest itself for you? What is the kind of thing that you'd like to see yourself doing?
Oh, well, I think the saying "abundance must flow" really anchored my childhood. It's anchored everything for me. It's something that I've gotten from my parents, and it started by just them sharing this idea that when you have the opportunity to experience abundance, it is not our job to keep it all or to hoard it all for ourselves. But in order to be ready to receive, you must constantly be giving. And what I loved is that they showed us this in really small ways. Like when I, as somebody that was working at a young age, when I got my first checks in, they had 3 piles for me of what am I going to save, what am I going to spend, but, from 6 years old, what am I going to donate? And my job, oftentimes with my siblings for the holiday, was to choose organizations to donate to in our family's names, and then write cards to our family members of like, this is why we chose this organization, this is what it's meant to us. But then on a larger scale, I think having this mentality has been really inspiring, because it's meant that every door that's opened for me, the first question is, how do we keep this door open? And I think it's really guided every decision we've made on our path and career. So even in opening a production company, so much of this was like, well, wow, I have the opportunity as an actor to be able to tell stories that I'm passionate about, to be able to be in these spaces that are so fulfilling. Well, how do we let more people into these systems that are so impenetrable at times, that rely on the same network of individuals over and over again, rather than letting in these voices that we have to hear from? And so it really has been that guiding force.
And I know you're very driven to get your generation to vote, because I think one of the great dangers in the world is apathy, is when people don't do anything.
It's so funny you say that. The one thing I talked about a lot with my friends is that I feel like what we're trying to do, or at least what I'm trying to do personally, is leave the age of apathy we're in. And I use that word exactly because I think it's easy to be 23 and to feel so hopeless. And I think because of that, rather than committing and caring, we've chosen to be as distant at times as possible from these issues, because it's like, well, what are we going to do about it? And the one thing that I always try and remind myself of, my first tattoo I got says, I don't know if you can see it, 63 for the year 1963, because it was a year of so much civil engagement. But what it reminded me of is that there's so many people that were working towards a future they were not guaranteed but knew was essential. And it makes me remember the fact that that is our task at times. Even if I can't see that future, even if I don't know I'm guaranteed rights or access to that future, I know what we need. I know the equity we should be fighting for always.
Later I will show you my first tattoo. I was 60 and drunk. It's just here.
Wait, I need to see that.
It's on there. Melanie, talk to me about your zero waste exhibition on motherhood at the Women's Pavilion. So we're talking about Osaka 2025.
Yeah.
Why have you taken this on, and what are you gonna be thinking about?
No, but first of all, because we talk about Osaka, I just want to thank Cyril, who every time we have lunch or dinner, I have big dreams and he has bigger dreams, and it's like an escalade of dreams. And then he makes them possible, and then I'm meeting all those amazing women at Cartier who just like helped me to make those dreams big. And I was so moved because I just saw people from Cartier who I worked with for the Dubai Women's Pavilion. So we had like that crazy adventure, and then now I'm doing another one.
There's a slight hesitation in your voice there.
No, it's just like it's just like such an honor and such a big pressure also, obviously, and the theme of this exhibition is Mother Wild and Mother Earth. So obviously it's very inspiring. So I just cannot wait to work on ecofeminism, because I think it's a beautiful thing that we could just like talk a little bit more in general. And it's going to be extremely creative, and it's just the best, because you're an artist and you can just like show work, and it's just a proposal, and people's going to see it, and
it's very exciting.
I'm very lucky.
Well, I think you make your own luck, if I may say so. Yara, you're playing, am I allowed to say you're playing Tinkerbell? Is that right?
Yes. Out in the world.
You're going to play Tinkerbell in the Disney production of Peter Pan and Wendy. Mm-hmm. Wow. You talk about founding your own production company. Do you think the big production companies like Disney can also be agents of change?
Absolutely. I think the reason why I've always been so excited to find big partners such as Cartier is that they have incredible resources, and when you find people that are on similar missions as you, just as we heard in the lightning round of stories about those partnerships, so many incredible things can come from it. And so for me, somebody recently found a picture of me at the age of 6 dressed up as Tinkerbell for the Disney stores, and so it's a very full circle moment. But I grew up on fairy tales, and for me, my parents were very intentional, and because there weren't many fairy tales and cartoons that looked like me or my family, being Black and Iranian, they literally searched around the world for books and stories that were reflective of my family. And so to think that we now get to tell a new version of Peter Pan and Wendy where so many people get to see themselves reflected, and it becomes the norm is really exciting. And I hope it inspires people to dream as big as I knew I could dream, because my world was surrounded by my community and faces like mine.
Well, I don't know about you, Melanie, but I am suddenly hoping that Yara's family will adopt us. So they sound absolutely. Yes. I feel I've had a terrible childhood.
I got pretty lucky.
Explain the tattoo.
Yes. Oh, that explains the drunk tattoo. You know what I think? I think as well this evening, all these amazing women working by themselves, but when we cooperate, when we sit together.
Close.
Isn't it good?
Close. Maybe that's the key.
You are both fabulous, Yara and Melanie. Fantastic. Amazing.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you, sweetie. That was great. I'll see you in Osaka. Thank you very much. Amazing. Oh, I want to go to... Can I come to Osaka, Cyril? Can I come? Okay, great. Sorted. Ring my agent. So, you know what I think? I think we need a toilet break. Anybody? Yes. I need to sit down for a second. Let's have a 10-minute break. And I'll see you back here. I promise you I have a fabulous surprise. See you in a minute.
daring you to make the first move. Lights dim, but your gaze is all I see. In your eyes, I can see you want me. I'm daring you to make the first move. Is this a game?
That was Sadek and his amazing dancers. I don't know about anybody else. I can hardly speak. Honestly, it brought me to tears. I mean, in a wonderful and an extraordinary way. It's an amazing blend of hip-hop and geometric movement. It's extraordinary. So you call the show Murmuration, is that right? Why Murmuration?
Because, good evening, everybody.
Isn't he incredible? This
Yes.
is amazing.
First. Why Murmuration? Because, first, I'm in love with nature, with the concept of biomimetism. So I just wanted to do some, like a tribute to nature. And everybody was amazed by the cloud of birds, you know.
Yeah, so it's the starlings when they move. It's called a murmuration, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do the same with bodies and arms.
Well, I mean, it's amazing. So you make a point always to include people with disabilities in your choreographies. You have 128 dancers in wheelchairs at the 2020 Tokyo Olympic and Paralympic Games. Tell me a little bit about why you're so committed to diversity and inclusion.
Because, and specifically for this one, I wanted to welcome everybody. If you want to do it, you can do it. It's easy. For me, you got for me. How I can explain? Sorry.
No, I mean, don't worry. I'm speechless. I'm not surprised you are, so it's fine.
No, I'm trying to find my words, you know. Sorry for my English first. And for me, all humans is the same.
Yeah.
If you really want, like I said, if you really want to do something you're interested about, do it. That's it.
Well, you are an inspiration. It was a privilege to be in the same room as you. Thank you very much, Sadek. Fantastic. Wow. I'm sitting there crying. Okay, wonderful. Good thing is we can look forward to a piece of Sadek Baraba choreography being performed at the Paris Olympics in 2024. Can I just say, I think we can all feel a little smug for having seen him in person. I think so. Right. It's the moment we've all been waiting for. It is the awards reveal. Now, I can tell you this, there are 3 awards in each category, and we have the best of the best to present. And here they come: Amal Clooney, Renaud Lestringent, Managing Director of Cartier France, and of course Cyril, CEO of Cartier. Please come join me on the stage. Stand here. Forward a little bit. Here we go. I just want to be really clear that I am going to say first, second and third, but that genuinely is not how we think of it, okay? Everybody, as I think you've heard from just a few of the stories we've heard, are winners tonight. Right, we are going to start with Anglophone and Lusophone Africa, and I would ask our fellows who are in the wings, they don't know what the results are, please come on stage when you hear your name called out. Third place for Anglophone and Lusophone Africa, Charlotte Magai from Makuru Clean Stoves. Congratulations. In second place, Angela Kiyo-Mugisha from Caro Health, who unfortunately could not be with us today. No, she's not here. Yeah. I'll have that one. First place, Dupe Kila Kafedipe from Platinum Fisheries. She can have that. Well done, my friend. Congratulations. Next we have East Asia. In third place, Olivia Coate-James from Luna. Well done, Olivia. In second place, Megan Lamb from Neuram Health. take a little bow. So really take a bow. There you go. And in first place, Wuri Moon from Fortify. Take a little bow. Congratulations. Now to Europe. In third place, Nathalie Lesselin from Kokoro Lingua. Well done, well done. In second place, Mariam Torisayan from Safe You. And in first place, Eva Gumnishka from Humans in the Loop. Next up, Francophone, Sub-Saharan Africa. No third place for this category, so I can tell you, in second place, Sini Samba from Le Lionceau. Congratulations. In first place, Yvette Ishimui from Iriba Water Group. Congratulations. We move to Latin America and the Caribbean. In third place, Lydia Diaz from Plant Powered. In second place, Atilana Pignon from Retorna. Okay, take a bow, take a bow. There. And in first place, Emily Yule from Panties. Take a little bow. Middle East and North Africa. In third place, Farah Imara from Fresh Sauce. In second place, Renard Al-Jafri from Ad Astra Therapy. Take a bow, sweetie. Take a bow. And in first place, Khadija Elbed Wahi from Praxi Labs. We move to North America. In third place, Kayla Castaneda from Aqua Bonita, who unfortunately could not be here tonight in person. In second place, Ania Waisoka from Simply Rooted Media Incorporated. And in first place, Wendy Owens from Hexas Biomass Incorporated. Congratulations, Wendy. We go to Oceania. Third place, Lily Dempster from One Small Step. In second place, Lena Shu from Telecare. And in first place, Ingrid Seeley from Teachwell. South Asia and Central Asia. In third place, Mint Lim from School of Concepts. Second place, Dimple Palmer from Zenonco.io. And in first place, Denica Riadini Flesh from Sukachita. For the very first time this year, we move to our Diversity, Equity and Inclusion Award. In third place, Cheng Chuan Sh from Voibuk Technology. In second place, Ishani Roy from Seren.in. Blake Van Putten from SICE. Congratulations. The Science and Technology Pioneer Award, in third place, Adi Yeheskeli from Fabuin. Well done, Eddie. In second place, Liv Anderson from BioXerox. Take a bow. Take a bow, sweetie. And in first place, Pulami Chowdhury from Helix. Take a bow, sweetie. Our 2023 Fellows. those. Thank you so much for coming together. Yes, absolutely right. Fantastic, amazing. Look at you, fabulous. Yeah, quite right. All of you, thank you so much for coming together to celebrate these 32 incredible impact entrepreneurs. Each one is a force for good. Can I just say, if you are an impact entrepreneur, you are welcome to join this inspiring community. The call for applications for 2024 is open. You can apply until June the 30th, 2023. You can go to the Cartier Women's Initiative website to find out more. There is no question that the impact for change is right here on the stage. Thank you for coming. Thank you to those of us who joined online. All my lovely friends, if you're on stage, everybody please stay for the group photo. The rest of you, I suggest we continue the conversation over drinks, and I will see you there. Fantastic. Well done, everybody.